Is he prepping for a 2024 run?
Let's talk about, y'all,
Middle America.
What are you people? We're Americans.
We are Americans indeed. I am Vincent. This is
DL Beluga.
DL Beluga. I was born and raised Christian, evangelical Christian, Republican, whole nine yards. But recently, about actually 2016, I got exposed to the big homie Bernie Sanders. And that led me down the rabbit hole. I found TYT, and then finding TYT, I found Jimmy Dore, and then finding Jimmy Dore. Well, I found Bernie in the midst there somewhere, all the rest of it. So here I am. I'm exploring all this stuff, trying to figure out what I actually, what's the best political categorization you could put me on. Maybe that's asking the wrong question. Who knows? Beluga is
I would consider myself a conservative, although I do have a slight disdain for the Republican Party, but not for the reasons you think. I think they're a little bit inconsistent, and I think that they're I don't know how to put this, but I think they're a little bit inconsistent. They don't really I hate to say this because I sound like a liberal, but it's true. They're not open-minded to the point that I'd like them to be. Again, I really hate to say that, y'all, but
I love the cognitive dissonance. It's great. Must be hard. But
still, I still consider myself conservative, and I would still vote for a conservative for every election: governor, senate, congressman, definitely the president.
So, okay. Speaking of the president.
Yeah, speaking of the president,
the guy who lost an election,
supposedly,
and who is no longer the president, went to CPAC over the weekend, and he dominated CPAC according.
Now, I haven't been around for most of the CPAC stuff. Later on in the video, the woman says that it's usually very diverse. Is that true? Is it usually a lot of candidates and they get a lot of
Yes, it's usually a lot of the exactly. It's the heavy hitter. Yeah, it's the heavy hitters in the Republican Party, the rising stars, it's a showcase type of thing. It's kind of like Pro Day, the NFL.
Oh, yeah. Really?
Yeah. So the fact that Trump has almost single-handedly dominated CPAC indicates that he's alive and very well.
Oh, yeah.
I think him being off Twitter and Facebook, while it definitely hurt him, and that's coming out in a couple days, it definitely hurt him. But I also think that it lulled at least corporate Democrats to sleep.
Wow.
Because you weren't hearing about him so often, it's kind of like he disappeared and that he's gone. Wow. But he's not gone, and he dominated CPAC. So that's going to be an issue for the Democratic Party.
That is going to be a serious issue.
Yeah. And according to what's up, Jason? What's up, Michelle?
Well, Middle Earth, he said he already decided.
Trump will not declare. Right, but what we're talking about here is what he will declare. Trump will not declare until the midterm results are in.
Oh, yeah, but why? If he already decided, what is the midterms?
Well,
I know the midterms are relevant.
You're kind of testing the wind to see what's the ethos of the people. So, for example, if there's like a blue wall, which is damn near impossible, then I don't think he would run because he wouldn't want to lose.
But he said so you're saying he lied and didn't already make up his mind? It's still conditional?
No, I think he made up his mind that because what I'm looking at is Trump's ego. He doesn't want to lose to Biden twice.
That would be bad.
So what I'm thinking, what Middle Earth is saying is Trump will not declare until the midterm results are in.
Yeah.
Because then you can get a good gauge of what's going on with the people. So if there's like a giant blue wall and like the Democrats end up with like a 60% majority in the House and Senate, I don't think he'd run because he'd be saying, okay, the Democrats have a real hold now on the American people and the chances of me winning are lower. But I think if it's 50% or even if it's I think the Republicans are gonna make bank in 2022 in the midterms, just
really?
because of how weak of a leader Biden is and how terrible Kamala's been doing, which in my theory is by design by Biden. But we continue. So here is CNN. Yeah, I think he decided conditionally, and it's almost precious to me that you even
Oh man,
seem surprised that Father Trump would lie to you. That's precious to me. The guy was like the most dishonest president we've had
what are
in the
you
last
talking about?
30 years.
What are you talking?
Well, I mean, they
about?
literally tracked how many times he lied. I mean, I don't care because they all lie. I'm just saying, like, it's amazing to me. Like, it's clear that you still believe that this guy's a truth teller. Holy moly. Here's, speaking of truth tellers, ironically, here's CNN talking about CPAC. The most objective news search, correct.
Sorry, news show.
Oh, headphones.
My headphones are on. I can't hear anything, though.
I can't hear anything either.
Oh, it's muted.
That's because it's muted. All right, let's try again.
Okay, from the top. There we go.
Yeah, we'll rewind it.
CNN Sarah Murray is in Dallas. So, Sarah, Trump was definitely playing to his supporters there. He got quite the...
We continue. Unbelievable. We're having technical difficulties. Let's try this again, CNN. You think CNN might have something against us? Might be that thing that you just said about them.
If you're the most objective news show, it's a compliment.
That was you being sarcastic, and I knew it, and so did the audience, and so did CNN, you horrible person.
I feel like CNN didn't hear that.
Here's Cindy saying Biden didn't win
critical race theory, but of
course, finally someone chips him with some
truth. He also spent
truth.
a lot of time airing his grievances about the 2020 election. Here's a little snippet of that.
This must never happen to another party's presidential candidate again. Can never happen.
Mm-hmm.
We are a laughingstock all over the world. A laughingstock.
Oh my God.
And you know
See,
who
that right
knows
there
it
is what I
better
don't like
than
about
even
the
the
Republican
people
Party.
in this room? Democrats.
Okay, you don't like that?
Yeah, the Republican Party is supposed to be the party of truth.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're not laughing stocks all over the world.
Trump had to...
Well, how do you know that?
How do I know that? Because
I think honestly, like the Biden situation, the fact that their strategy,
and you know when it says that Trump could
their strategy was literally to hide the man in the basement during a pandemic and during an election year.
Okay.
Like that is funny in the sense of this is the most powerful country on the planet, and their leader is so declined mentally that the people handling him won't let him speak in public during a pandemic when it's a little layup, a little base hit, a 5 mile an hour fastball down the plate, and then you've got Kamala. We've been to the border, Harris.
we've been to the border.
And then what did she say after that? She said,
Don't come?
She said, don't come. She went over to Guatemala. So, like, I don't.
So you do think that people are think that we're laughing stocks?
Yeah,
That's absurd.
I definitely do.
That is absurd.
I definitely do.
Well, you know, if you think it, then I just gain that much more respect for Trump because at least if it's reasonable. I thought it was totally left field, but I mean, hey, if it's reasonable, that better for me.
Well, as Sean said, the most powerful country on the planet can't find two people worthy of the presidency.
What person is this? What country is this person from?
Sean is an American.
Oh, he's an American. Okay.
No, but he's criticizing. He's criticizing. Did you move that? People are saying you got a little echo. I have an echo, or you have an echo. People are saying lots of echo, so I'm gonna kill this. This always happens every single time I play a video.
What was I in the middle of saying? Oh yeah.
Yeah. So come closer.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't. I think that. Yeah. I think that Biden. You know, it's not. I don't think even if you're a Democrat, even if you voted for Biden, right? Let's say you voted for Biden. I don't think anybody voted for Biden and it's like, yes, I'm proud that Joe Biden is our president, right?
Well, those people who are in the streets all celebrating and getting all teary-eyed.
Well, they were celebrating because they hated Trump. Biden's shtick was never, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z for you. Biden's shtick has always been, I'm not Trump.
Wasn't he running around talking about his infrastructure plan, which is still in deadlock?
Well, I mean, I'm sure. I understand that. What I'm saying is...
he was running around talking about how he's going to have the infrastructure plan.
What I'm saying is when Trump was the president, Democrats were saying we're the laughingstock of the world, and we were. Because I believe we were. We had a president who had a Twitter account that was like a 15-year-old. But conversely, we now have Biden, and now the Republicans are saying we're the laughingstock, and they're also right because Biden has clearly, I'm not going to speculate and say that he's got Alzheimer's, and I don't think that that's funny. And to be honest with you, I'm uncomfortable with people mocking Biden's mental decline because it's actually sad. What if that was your grandfather, right? So, but my wife disagrees with me. She thinks it's okay to make fun of him because he ran for president. You have the same.
Yeah, of course.
That's okay.
You shouldn't run for president. Hey, you should run for president if you
Okay, fine. I can agree with you on that. But mocking a person in mental decline, mocking somebody for something they have no control over, I think is terrible.
Well, if you think Trump's a maniac, then that's something he has no control over. So
yeah, but I don't think Trump is a maniac. I think Trump is extremely calculating.
I know you don't think that, but other people may think that.
So, you know, there's been a jihad that's been going on in the progressive world. Mm-hmm. You know, you've been following it, and people have been saying this is not important. This is not important. This is not important. Yes, it is, because think about what is about to happen in 2024. If all things go the way that I probably think they're going to go, the Republicans are going to have a very strong surge in 2022. I really think they're going to dominate in 2022. I think they're going to shift the balance of the power of the House and the Senate. And then, can you imagine a Trump-DeSantis ticket? Listen, a Trump-DeSantis ticket versus Kamala. Notice I put Kamala first, when in reality it should be Biden. It should be a Biden-Harris ticket.
Biden's not running again. He's not running again.
I doubt very highly.
He's made that perfectly clear. He's not running again.
Yeah, I mean it's clear. It's clear that Valetudo is saying Trump 2024.
Good. Yeah, I'm glad. I'll be able to vote for him 2024.
Astaghfirullah.
One of the proudest moments of my life, voting for that guy.
Yeah, one of the proudest moments of your life will be voting for Donald Trump, the guy who, as we were being attacked in one of the highest days of the celebration of our republic, as we were being attacked, watched it for an hour and a half on TV, and would not allow the National Guard to be deployed to give aid and comfort and assistance to the police who were overrun, which resulted in the death of Officer Sicknick.
I never said it was
and the rest of
I
them.
never said it was perfect. You used to make.
But
listen, I would also vote for Bernie. He's an abortionist, and you know I don't like abortion. So
you're gonna be. I'm not gonna be proud. To vote. But you're proud to vote in Trump. Let
me put it this way.
Can we agree? Can we agree that on 1/6 Trump showed that he was more loyal to Donald Trump than to the United States?
Well, I feel like he thought that he would be better for the United States.
Well, that's not the question I asked you, though, little bro.
Well, if he thought that he was better,
I'm asking you based on what you saw.
I can't tell.
You can't tell. Okay, so if it was Barack Hussein Obama,
I still be able to tell.
And it was a bunch of people screaming Allahu Akbar, and everybody knew beforehand that they were coming, and Barack Obama's lawyer was on Twitter telling people today's the day. Give your life and your blood for the cause, blah, 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 for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah, give your life and your blood for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Storm the Capitol. And then Obama sat there and didn't bring in the National Guard for an hour and a half. You're telling me you would have no problem with that?
I would have a problem with that because I don't like Obama.
But if a person were to say that's the day that Obama chose himself over the country, you'd be saying, I don't know.
I don't know.
This is a problem with the Trumps. This is the problem with Trump support. I love you. You're my son. Obviously, I love you. But that's complete and total denial. And your inability to face the truth is the reason
you don't know what he was thinking. He could be thinking, I am better for the country, therefore I need to be the president.
No. The point of the country is that we're a republic and that we voted and he lost.
Okay, so maybe
you lost.
Maybe he was a little bit egocentric or whatever.
A little bit ego. Look, every president is egocentric. That's not what I'm talking.
He was more egocentric than he should have been. Okay, but here's the thing. That's my original point.
No. Oh, we're gonna get to your original point because you're right. You had a point. You're right, but address that.
Address what?
He didn't, because I've been trying to talk to all the Trump people, and none of you guys will admit it. So I'm trying to get you. Isn't it true? So the governor of Maryland was saying, please give me authorization to send in the guard to protect these people.
I'm saying right now, I'm going on record. He ignored that phone call. He saw the guy, he saw the caller ID, and he hung up.
On purpose.
He saw the caller ID and he hung up.
On purpose.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do think
so because you know what was happening, he didn't want the confirmation and the affirmation of Joe Biden.
Yeah.
That was what they were supposed to do that day.
Yep.
So that's why when all these people were hiding for their lives, Giuliani called while they were hiding and said, "Hey, I guess we can't do it today." He called one of the senators and said, "Hey, we can't do this today. I mean, look what's happening."
Senators? Oh,
it's a literal phone call.
I guess we can confirm Biden today. Whoops.
Exactly. That's what he said.
Oh.
They were clearly behind it, and then the Republicans made sure that there was no 1-6 commission to investigate why, and that's because it's clear that the Republicans know all they have is Trump. Desantis is too early. He's too early, and he's very popular in New York and very popular to like
New York.
I'm sorry, Florida. In Florida, which Florida is an extremely strategic state for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
and especially if you're thinking about the Latino vote.
Yeah.
But DeSantis is a guy for 2028, definitely. DeSantis is definitely going to be the guy for 2028 for the Republicans. I can see that for sure.
Van Buren situation.
Correct. Exactly. But what I'm saying is the Republicans didn't want the 1-6 commission because they knew it was going to implicate Trump at the criminal level.
Yeah.
And they know that he's the only hope that they have.
I agree. I mean, I'm glad the commission didn't go through.
So okay, exactly. So you don't So America then, and the American policy and the concepts of freedom and liberty and one man, one vote, and the common man being able to direct his own future via these elections and the non-combative, bloodless transfer of power that we've celebrated for hundreds of years, all that goes out the window for Donald Trump.
I don't think I've never held that belief. All what you just said. And
that's the logical ramification, though, of you saying you're glad there's no 1-6 commission. That means there wasn't.
I said no. I think you misunderstood. All I said about the free man, about the man, common man choosing his own path, and all that frivolous platitudes. I just don't believe. So
okay. So you are. We've been having a running discussion because him and his brother are reading Animal Farm. So you are a fascist then. You're
okay. No, I wouldn't want Trump to be the supreme leader of America. I'm.
What could keep him in check?
A term limit, for example.
How?
I mean, how?
Well, here's the thing. He commits this crime.
Yeah.
He is. Do you believe? Let me ask you a question. If there was some hidden camera or some news thing that got leaked, and it turned out that Trump was behind the whole 1-6 thing, would you be surprised?
I'd be like, oh, that's news? I thought everyone already knew this.
Okay. So you believe that Trump, if he didn't orchestrate it, was definitely in support of it and used his presidential powers. Yeah. Okay. And you're saying that's okay. Because you don't like because you don't like Joe Biden.
Well, here's the thing. It's not okay, but I mean the result was the same. I just personally hope that Trump doesn't get convicted because I do want him to run again. So I mean, I'll just turn a blind eye to it.
Right. So you're basically fascist light.
Well, I mean, everyone does that. The Democrats will do that.
No. That literally what Trump did has never happened before.
I know that.
In the history of our country.
The whole Hillary stuff?
In the history of our country, that's never happened.
I know it's never happened. Well, there was one coup d'etat after the Civil War. But,
the Civil War.
I said after the Civil War.
That's my point. The Civil War. It was a civil war. That kind of action only can be referenced in the context of a civil war. What does that tell you? That's Trump. And my thing is, people died in that insurrection. The officer died, Sicknick. Ashley Babbitt died. She got shot. We have multiple people died. And please, in the comment section, I understand Sicknick died of a stroke, but please miss me with this idea that he just died of natural causes. It just so happened that he died of a stroke in the middle of an insurrection.
Hey, at least you're being consistent.
It's not like a stroke can be brought around by a highly stressful situation. Just ridiculous stuff. But what I like about you is how open and honest you are, because you don't sugarcoat any of your fascism. So you're like fascist light.
Extremely light. Here's the thing.
Extremely light. Just a little pinch of fascism.
A pinch of fascism is necessary.
A pinch of fascism.
Okay, do you guys understand the state we're standing on right now? Maine was admitted to the Union because they wanted to keep the balance of power between slave states and free states. So if we didn't let Missouri come into the Union and we overrid the vote and just overrid the vote and just let Maine be into the Union like a fascist, we could have had slavery ended much sooner. Or at least had some nice legislation passed.
Okay, that's great. But what does that have to do with this current situation?
I'm saying the connotation of fascism. Okay, please don't take this out of context. But I'm saying the connotation of fascism. Hold on.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
Needs to be tweaked a little bit. I'm not a fan of Mussolini. I don't like any of those fascist people. I don't like Hitler. I don't like any of those people. I'm just saying democracy is kind of like a compromise. So it was literally the legislation that was passed. What is it? Was called the Missouri Compromise, because they're compromising between slavery and freedom. Fascism could have solved that problem. I'm saying a little pinch of fascism
could have solved that problem
a good way.
Fascism could also, like, I've got people in the chat right now that I know for a fact.
I know the opposite.
That I know for a fact would have been against.
I know the opposite
Abraham
is true.
Lincoln because of his Marxism, but that's a separate.
I know the opposite is true as well. So if there
was a fascist pro-slavery guy, then you would be a slave right now.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why fascism is bad.
No. It's only bad when it's by wrong people. If John Brown was a fascist leader, we would all be happy right now.
Here we go.
What do you mean, here we go?
No, we would not be happy right now if he was a fascist leader, because he would outlaw slavery, but he wouldn't stop there. That's the entire.
That's why I said a little bit. That's the entire bit.
That's the entire point of our government is checks and balances, because we're assuming that too much power for one sinful person to have is going to be detrimental to the whole.
I agree.
Okay, so when you have checks and balances, we have a process. You lost the election.
Okay.
So what you do is you be a man. You take your loss, and you comport yourself with dignity. You don't send hundreds of gullible people. God bless those poor people. You don't send hundreds of gullible people to their death so that you can override the American system because you lost.
I
That's
agree.
not how it works.
That's what I said. Listen, here's the thing. If you would have actually, when they were storming the Capitol, I didn't actually think that they would be able to overturn anything, because in this United States government, they obviously have the secret passageways and sneak out or whatever.
Okay, so
I just told you didn't like Mussolini or Hitler. I just told you that.
Okay, name us some good guy fascist dictators.
There is no. I didn't say that they should be dictators. I said that there's a pinch of fascism.
Yeah,
could
but
be good.
your man lost, and then he deployed. But listen to me though. Your man lost, so he deployed a bunch of private militia, basically, to storm our capital.
Yeah.
Like, I asked, I'm not going to say who, because I'm not out here to embarrass people, but I asked my friend the Obama question. I said, if it was Obama, it was a bunch of black people yelling Allahu Akbar, would you want an investigation? You know what he said to me? He said, I'm not going to answer that question.
Well, you already answered the question. Okay, back to my point.
But you answered the question. I appreciate your honesty.
Here's what I'm saying. I'll get Rancher Man. I'll get to your question later.
But I'm waiting for you to respond to Tasco.
I just told you a billion times. So
then how could you be okay with fascism?
I'm not okay with there being fascist leaders. I said a little bit of fascism can go a long way.
Okay, this is the mindset of the Trump supporter, right? We got DL over here saying, hey, a little bit of fascism is okay.
It is okay.
And then you've got DJ over here, since he doesn't have the self-awareness yet to be ashamed of this. DJ was the guy that I asked,
fellow Republican?
That I asked the question, the Trump supporter. I asked the question. I said it was a bunch of brown people yelling Allahu Akbar, and it was Barack Obama. Would you not want a 1-6 commission? Okay. And he said that was a terrible question. Now, dear listener, You decide for yourself whether that's a relevant question or not, and what the implications of his answer or non-answer
now let me get back to what I
I'll
was
leave
saying.
that to you.
So, as I was saying previously,
Okay, so
before you
Overshadow
interrupt
Sean
me.
is agreeing with you. Every president has a little bit of fascism in him.
Yeah, and it goes on a scale. You got, some people who were really, getting cute with Congress, like, I don't really know who these people are. Let's say
Obama was clearly a fascist.
A James Buchanan type of person, and then you got the people who like to push the lines between state jurisdiction and federal jurisdiction a little bit far, like Andrew Jackson, for an example, and Donald Trump, as we see.
Yeah. Obama was clearly a fascist.
Yeah.
I mean, he executed Anwar al-Awlaki, no trial. The Verizon scandal, what Edward Snowden uncovered happened during the Obama administration.
Didn't they try to kill him out even when he was in Hong Kong? They tried to extradite him, right?
Who?
Snowden?
Oh, of course we tried it. Of course.
Yeah, so
Of course.
Again, so anyone who will vote for Obama and proudly voted for Obama is supporting fascism. Let me get back to what I was saying. So no, I didn't like the whole 1-6 situation. Again, this is why I don't like the Republican Party totally, because I would have liked for him, because the Republican Party is about strong Christian values and family values and all that stuff.
Whoa. What?
That's what's
the
supposed to be.
Republican
That's what's supposed to be about.
value system?
That's
So
what's
what
supposed to be
happened
about.
on 1-6 is Christian values.
Would you let me speak? Would you please let me
The
speak?
Confederate
Would
flag.
you please let me speak?
Those are your friends, by the way. That's the
Let
thing
me
that's
speak,
hilarious
bro.
to me. You're defending these people who want you as a slave.
Would you let me speak?
These people went
You
to
just keep cutting me off. You are cutting me off. I cannot say anything.
my bad. Go ahead. You're right. Go ahead.
What was I saying again?
Man, keep cooning for these people.
So, okay, the Republican Party is supposed to be based off of Christian values. So I would have loved if he would have gone out there, shook Joe Biden's hand, and say, "Hey, I don't think you won, but you know what? That's what the judges said." So I'll give you an example like this. So if we're playing like a football game, right? And I think he stepped out of bounds, but the referee said he didn't, and they won the game. You go up there, you shake their hand, and say, "Hey, I thought that you stepped out of bounds, but you know what? The referee said it, so it's true." Shake your hand, good game, and then you go about your day, and then you live to find another day. That's what I've loved to see from Trump. So no, I don't like particularly what happened in 1-6, but I am willing to overlook it, just like all those Obama voters are willing to overlook the Verizon stuff and trying to extradite Edward Snowden and so on and so forth.
Okay.
And
I'll
back
give
to
you
my
that.
proud question. Whoa, I need to finish what I said about.
No, you just finished your point.
No.
I shut up. I let you finish your
Okay,
point.
fine,
That was
go
my
ahead,
turn.
go ahead.
Okay, fine. I agree with you. Anybody who supports Barack Obama is a fascist. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
And he did more explicitly fascist things than Trump did. That's why I'm not part of this. I'm a Democrat. I'm a Republican. Blah 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 blah. Like, Obama was a fascist. He killed American citizens. He killed Abdul Rahman al-Awlaki as well, who was a 15-year-old kid, and gave no explanation for it.
Seriously?
Yeah, that was al-Awlaki's son, by the way.
When
That
was this?
was al-Awlaki's son. He killed Abdul Rahman 6 months after he killed that Anwar al-Awlaki. Now, look, I understand why he killed al-Awlaki, because al-Awlaki was a terrorist, and he was working. I mean, I've listened to literally hundreds and hundreds of hours of him speaking. Like, he wanted to die that way. But be that, I don't care. We've got laws in America. Obama completely violated them and killed this dude without any trial. When we could have easily done a snatch and grab. We had Human, we knew exactly where he was, and we've done operations like that a bunch of times. There was no need for us to kill him. Obama killed him, and then 6 months later they killed Abdul Rahman, which was his 15-year-old son. It was your son. It was your age, and he was about 2 inches shorter than you, and they drone bombed him, 15-year-old kid, and refused to tell us why. He was an absolute fascist, Obama was. Then the Verizon stuff, and then the Snowden stuff. Please, miss me. Miss me with all that. However, the fact that you're saying you're good with looking the other way, and the fact that almost every Trump supporter I have ever spoken to, when it comes to 1-6, completely abandons all logic, rationality, and loyalty to this country is beyond me. Dorian, those people walked into our space with Confederate flags. Which, again, for all the Confederate apologists, please miss me with the Confederacy wasn't about slavery, because in their version of the Declaration of Independence, it was mentioned about over 20 times. So please miss me with this idea that the Confederate flag doesn't represent slavery. Those people were saying these were white supremacists, obviously.
Yeah.
because the flag that they were flying was the Confederate flag or the Trump flag.
Yeah.
They actually put the Trump flag over the American flag.
I said in the prayer.
And those are Trump's people. Now, I will say those are the darkest versions of Trump's people. And I think it's unfair to characterize every Trump supporter as one of those crazies. Now, I know somebody who I believe probably would have been there if he wasn't too smart for it. And I'm glad that he was too smart to do that nonsense. Because I consider him a friend.
Okay.
But why are you okay with overlooking that?
The same reason why everyone's okay with we just mentioned about Obama.
No. There is no time when we can see that Obama was actively giving aid and support to black supremacists or white supremacists.
Why does it matter whether they're supremacists or whether he's trying to extradite a whistleblower? What's the difference?
The difference is we have people who are openly hostile to our country, i.e. Confederates, who murdered 300,000 Americans and tried to destroy the entire Union.
Yeah.
Those are the people that Trump was protecting on 1/6. There's no analogy to that with Obama. I don't like Obama, but I'm not going to lie either. I just want to know how you as a black man can support that, can look the other way at that.
Because I think his other policies will be very beneficial to us.
So a minor thing like slavery and white supremacy, things like that.
He's obviously not going to bring back slavery.
What do you mean bring back slavery? We already know about the 13th Amendment. We don't need to talk about that again. I'm saying.
Well, he reduced slavery. He reduced the slave
population. So you
population.
and Ben Shapiro would be okay if it was a bunch of neo-Nazis with swastikas covering the American flag. That would be okay. There'd be no investigation. Ben Shapiro wouldn't want an investigation into that.
There's nothing they could have done because, in my mind, they're just a bunch of silly people.
There it is.
What else do you want me to say?
That's the mind of the Trump supporter. We've got a young one here and another one here, right? Like this is what they do. Okay, I mean, look. In our house, you can believe what you want to believe. You don't have to believe what mom and dad believe. We believe in free thought here. I do think I think it's important that we had this discussion. I love you to death. You're dead wrong.
Really?
And you know, but here we are. And look, this is why
what
I said
exactly am I dead wrong about?
You're wrong about looking the other way at a guy who did that.
Okay, so what would not looking the other way be doing?
Not looking the other way would be to say, we need to investigate this, and the people that are behind this need to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
Let's do that after.
Which is exactly what Ben Shapiro would be calling for if this was Obama and a bunch of brown people yelling Allahu Akbar. That's exactly what Ben Shapiro would be calling for.
Yeah.
So that tells me that America is not the ultimate value of Republicans, clearly. Look, you can't have it both ways, right? You can't say, yeah, they attacked our country. Yeah, they spit in the face of our democracy on a pretty sacred day. The affirmation of the vote of the people. Yeah, they did all that. Yeah, they covered up the American flag with a hostile flag. Yeah, they did all that. We don't care. Okay, so you can never again, if you support that and you're good with looking the other way at that, I'll love you and I'll still be your friend. But you have officially left the idea that America is like the ultimate for Republicans and they're so patriotic. Okay, that's done, right? Because you can't have it both ways. If you were a real patriot, right, you would want to go after the people that disrespected your country, right? You wouldn't want to look the other way. You'd want to find
Biden's senility disrespected the country.
You would want to find who did that, right? Like, for example, let's say you lost somebody in that insurrection, right? Let's say I died in that insurrection. You'd be okay with that, them looking the other way and saying my life didn't matter? That would be okay with you?
Well, no.
Okay. Look, you don't have to say yes. If the answer is, yeah, it'd be fine with me, Dad.
Well, I wouldn't be fine with you.
Okay. Well, that's what happened. So all these people that are claiming that they love our country, that's the shtick of the Republican Party, right? Is they act like...
It's not a shtick, it's real.
No, that's a shtick, because if they don't care about what happened at 1/6, then they don't care about our country.
I just told you,
they care about republicanism and Trumpism.
They think that Trump would be better for the country than Biden.
No, that's not.
That's what I think.
That's not an American. That's not an America First mentality.
How's an America First?
Because you're undermining the thing that makes America America.
Which is
We voted, and we chose someone, and it's not his place or anybody's place to say, yeah, not right. He had his day in court. We have a system for all those things. He had his day in court, and the court was filled with people that he appointed, and they looked at it for 14 seconds and said, you're wrong. And he couldn't accept the loss, and neither could the white supremacists that are in the underbelly of his movement. I'm saying the underbelly because I don't believe that every Trump supporter is a white supremacist. I know a couple white supremacist Trump supporters, and I'm friends with them. But this whole thing, 1-6 is the Forcan, right? 1-6 is the, if you're good with 1-6, America is not your top priority.
Good with it.
Period.
I told you wasn't good with it.
But you're good with looking the other way. That means you're good with it.
Let's look the other way for 4 years, then we can prosecute her.
Unbelievable.
Why? That's a great compromise.
So listen, this is why progressives, because in my mind, this leaves us open for a third party to actually be successful. And we're going to be talking about this with a special guest in a couple days. But I think this is a place where we've got a real opening now as progressives who still prioritize America. I still prioritize America first. Dorian, not so much. He's Republican first. I'm America first. So, no. Anybody that wants to look the other way at 1-6 is not America first. We're just using logic here. We're not using emotion. We're not going to go with emotionalism. Let's just use logic, right? Our country was attacked. Would you agree? That was an attack against America? Okay.
Sure.
Our country was attacked, and you don't care about holding the people who did it to us responsible. Then you're not America first. I love you, but you're not America first.
Well, they failed miserably, so it didn't really matter.
Listen, you're not America first if you're okay with looking the other way at that, and that's okay.
If someone came into the house and they jiggled the doorknob and walked away, they attacked our house to try to break in. But I can still look the other way, but I don't want to prosecute him.
Yeah.
And still be...
But if a bunch of people came into your house yelling and screaming, calling for the death of your father, and your sister was hiding for 45 minutes scared for her life...
Who was hiding for 45 minutes scared of her life?
They were all hiding! What are you talking about?
I thought they escaped.
Have you even looked at what happened that day?
I saw them escaping calmly through a secret door.
Did you know what happened? These guys were under desk and all that shit. What are you talking about? Okay, this is the mindset of the Trump supporters. Honestly, Dorian is the smartest guy in the house. But this is the mindset of the Trump supporter. This is what happens. You guys, I had a conversation with a Trump supporter a couple of days ago. Guy didn't even know what apartheid was. I swear to God.
What?
I was on the phone with him. He's like, I brought up apartheid. He's like, what's that? He didn't even know what apartheid was. But this is where we are. Okay, I got to be more charitable. All right, this is not the average Trump person. DL Beluga is not your average Trump supporter. DL Beluga is very, very focused on a particular type of worldview, and he's got specific goals. So shout out to the homie.
Yeah, goals.
All right, tell me your final thoughts. We got to land the plane.
South Africa's a place. My final thoughts about C-SPAN or about the current conversation.
Just whatever you want. Whatever you want to talk about. It's your final thoughts, man.
Final thoughts. Okay, so final thoughts. Okay, so I don't think it came as a surprise that Trump dominated CPAC because I always thought that ever since they basically punished Liz Cheney for not bending the knee to Trump. That was really when my eyes were open that Trump is still involved with the Republican Party. He still has a very strong grip because the minute she didn't, and that's Dick Cheney's daughter, and she was out in the second. So that to me, and then I started looking more into it, and I see him on Hannity. I see him, with rallies, having rallies in Ohio and stuff like that. So I was thinking, wow, this guy's actually really coming strong. We got the Desantis over here, so I was definitely think we're going to be able to win the 2024 election. So this didn't come as a surprise to me. But it's still very nice to hear that our suspicions have been confirmed, basically. Not entirely, but basically have been confirmed because we got the straw vote. And apparently he dominated 90% of the vote in CPAC, 90%. And I don't know the significance of that number because I haven't been around for that long. But apparently that's a really high number. If we're comparing that to Pro Day, it's a pretty high number. And then all the shirts there that she said, all the shirts there and merchandise were of Donald Trump. And there was only one shirt or piece of merchandise that was of Ron DeSantis, and that was of him, I guess, implying that he would be the vice president under a Donald Trump regime. So I think that really tells you all you need to know about the Republican Party and where Trump stands in it.
Yeah. Well, I was laughing at your choice of words because you talked about the regime.
Yeah,
Trump's
regime.
Trump's regime. Friends with white supremacists, please elaborate. I believe in reaching people with our views. Do you experience any success with it? Well, here's what I'll say, Emily. It depends on how you define success, right? So as a Christian, my major goal is to love my neighbor as myself. Am I successful with that most of the time? Of course not. But I also have an assumption, and my assumption is anytime we hold to a fallacious ideology or worldview, it's going to cause us pain. And when I say us, I mean the person holding it and then the people around them. So the version of America that certain demographics of Republicans in this country are fighting tooth and nail to conserve. You're seeing this with the irrational sort of reaction to critical race theory, for example. Where you got, where you, yeah. He's right there. He'll never debate about it, but he's got a lot of opinions. You see this with critical race theory, where people are losing their minds, going crazy. They don't know the first thing about it, haven't read any authors, I was talking to a guy, he's got all these opinions about CRT, and then he was asking me, like, which author should I read? I'm like, wait a second. You've been saying all this stuff about CRT, and you haven't even read an author. It's like me saying, like, all types of craziness about, evolution, and I've never read Charles Darwin. Right? It's just, like, it's unbelievable stuff. And so if your goal is like converting them to be like, oh, I was a racist bastard, like that, if you have that as a goal, then you're probably going to be frustrated for your whole life, right? My goal is to know the truth and tell the truth the best that I can. And so if I'm engaging with a person who's got some shades of white supremacy in them, I make a point not to essentialize people. Like, that's not all that a person is, right? That people have different aspects of their being that make them who they are. So just because they have one perceived flaw from my vantage point doesn't mean that there are not other aspects of their person and their being that are not awesome and great. So, for example, the guy that, I'm talking about that we kind of go back and forth on, when DL got into a situation, he was the first person I called. As a matter of fact, he was the only person I called from the channel, right? So we got friends from the channel. He was the only person I called, and then he left a really good message on the phone for Dorian, which I played in the car, and everybody got to hear it. So my goal ultimately is like, man, I've only, you probably got 60, 70 spins left on this ball, right? And so it's like, if God puts people in my life, I'm going to love them the best that I can. And my goal, God never told me to change anyone, but he did tell me to love everyone. So it's not my job to change anyone. It's my job to love people. And if people are open to hearing information and studying and things like that, then great. Then the chances of them becoming enlightened are higher. And the chances of me becoming enlightened are also higher, because you have to understand that people hold to the views they hold to for a reason. So I'm not going to summarily dismiss someone because they have racist tendencies or supremacist tendencies. I'm not going to do that because I feel like you would be missing out on really cool things about that person in another context that you now miss out on because they're racist. And the last thing I'll say is, look, I think Trump DeSantis is almost a guarantee. It's probably going to be a landslide, in my opinion, if the progressives don't create a third party. The recent jihad that has ensued in the progressive space is actually really, really good, because now we've got a line, because Cenk said that all of us are crazy cultists or whatever, and he's excised us from the progressive movement. And I call the people that Cenk excised and excommunicated from the movement, I call those people the progressive street. And what I think should happen is there should be I think the progressive movement needs to grow up, because we're a movement that's mostly run by millennials and Gen Zers. And it's time for us to grow up. We need to have conferences. We need to have just like there's a DNC and an RNC, there needs to be a PNC. And there needs to be serious organization, strategy, media, whole nine yards, because we've got a real opportunity here to come out of nowhere with a third party vote, because nobody is going to vote for Kamala and Joe Biden with conviction. They're going to vote for Joe Biden and Kamala to defend themselves against Trump. But now is the perfect time for progressives to present a viable alternative to this nonsense. And I think it's a real shot. We've got a real opportunity here, and we got to start now. And like I said, I'm not necessarily a progressive, right? I'm not a progressive, but I'm much closer. We got to start it now. We got to go after it now.
Or you can wait a little bit. That'd be nice too.
Yeah, if we wait, then we're going to end up with DL. Trying to make friends with Cenk and all the rest of them is not going to work. Okay? So let Cenk do that thing, and I think now progressives can go out more than ever, and it'll be great. So that's how I feel about it. We'll see. But strident debate. This is pretty much just a regular day in our house.
You should see our ping pong tables. This is all that happens.
Yeah. There you are, dear listener. Love your neighbor.
Take care of each other.
Middle America.
We are the media.
Till next time.